Good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundance Television, syndicated, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast, netsnewsnetwork.net, and we're about to be affiliated with another podcast.
Oh, yeah?
So I'm really excited about
Good.
that, too. Wanted to thank all of our sponsors. Thank you so much. I have with me my very special friend. His name is Phillip. He's with American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches.
Yep.
And I went on ahead and put your website up there so
Good.
folks can go on ahead and start looking. And now listen to us and then go to the website later. But thank you, Phillip, for being on the show today.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Well, I always look forward to you being on the show with us. And I love Cowboy Church.
These are good times and busy times, and I have done more traveling this year than I've ever done. And I'm not complaining. It's all good stuff, new churches, new affiliates, and but I've literally been from Hamilton, Montana to Wake Forest, North Carolina to Williston, Florida, and I've got an upcoming trip to Ohio. So lot of and it's still and in between there I've had a couple of trips to Tennessee. I've got one. I'll be in the weekend of the 16th of August. I'll be in Enterprise, Mississippi for their 10-year anniversary with my friend Tony Chancellor, and I'm going to stay over to Sunday and preach in his church on Sunday. So we have a lot going on, and it's a lot of good stuff, and we have of course this Sunday night is the 5th Sunday night at Crossover Cowboy Church, and I talked to Wormy this morning, and Tim Collier's going to be preaching. He's a great preacher. He pastors Lonesome Dove, and they're going to have food at 5:30, and then we'll have a worship service after. That's always a good thing. There's a Sunday afternoon team roping at the Trading Post, and it's for number 3 and number 4 ropers, so that'll be a big deal on this Sunday afternoon. So not only that, and then we're getting ready for a pastor processing and a ranch house clinic that's at the Trading Post the 12th of August. And that starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. Anybody that wants to come and learn about the Cowboy Church model is welcome to come, men or women, church leaders or church members, it doesn't matter. We'll have food that day, and we'll have a great time of fellowship and learning. Then before you know it, we'll have the fall gathering, which will be October the 14th. It's been moved to the 14th because of the rodeo. For Him Youth Rodeo Finals is on the Saturday before. So I think we'll be doing that on the 14th. That'll be a big thing. And next thing you know, we'll be in Amarillo at the WRCA. I mean, it just happens.
It's just a lot of fun things going on.
It's good.
You mentioned Wake Forest.
Yeah.
North Carolina. And Brad and Larissa, every morning for the traffic report, you hear me say, and in Creedmoor, North Carolina, the mule capital of the world, just a few minutes away from Wake Forest.
Oh, yeah. And I was up there about a month ago and went to a cowboy church there, and the pastor of that church is coming to the get-together in August at the Trading Post. He's going through the process, and they will be affiliated with us. He'll go through the process, and they will stay for the clinic the next day. The reason why we do that is we have the processing on Friday, and then the clinic, because of the guys that ladies and guys that travel from Texas, it's to better utilize our financial resources to do it all at one time. So that's kind of the reason why we do that. It's these are exciting times for us. We've made some changes within our the leadership of the fellowship, and it's good things. I mean, helping us better try to be more prompt in the way we respond to things, to help us be more fluent about how we respond and
Mm-hmm.
and get to people and get to things that we need to be doing. All of these changes are just in our effort to be more efficient,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're learning.
Well,
And
that's growth.
oh, it is growth.
And when you're
And
constantly growing, you got to tweak and you got to
oh
make,
yeah.
do things just a
See,
little bit differently.
a lot of these same people are in Ruidoso, New Mexico this coming weekend for a school and a processing, and they're doing the same thing, and they'll come to Alabama and do the same thing. And the exciting thing for me about the processing, and it's what we do with somebody that wants to be a pastor of a cowboy church affiliated with us.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we just want to make sure that we line up biblically in the same direction. And we do some very thorough background checks because several years ago we kind of got burned on one, and that's why we do them, is to make sure that everything is good. And but the exciting part for me is this one that's coming up, and it's at our church. The first time they've ever had a school or
Mm-hmm.
a processing at our church. So we have a guy from Michigan, a guy from North Carolina, a guy from Tennessee, and a guy from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
All that they're pastors of cowboy churches,
Mm-hmm.
and they will be affiliated after the process. And so it's a good thing, and it's, to me, it just shows that we're really reaching beyond our bounds. And a lot of people have saw what happened in Alabama with cowboy churches. They saw what happened in Texas with cowboy churches, and it was simply the Baptist people helping us. We're not all of our cowboy churches are necessarily Baptist churches, but the church I pastor and 3 other churches in Marshall County belong to the Baptist Association, and we're not embarrassed about it. We're thankful for that relationship because they have.
That's how I found you.
Well, yes, and we have learned that we work better together, and they have helped us tremendously. So that led to conversations outside. We have been in Wisconsin and met with the Baptist people there who want a partner to do the same thing. We have been to Louisiana twice to do meetings with the Baptist people and we already have, I think, 3 different churches in, maybe 4 in Louisiana, but they want to grow those, and it is in a very culturally relevant part of the country. So all of those things are exciting times. So we're going to get, and we just finished the camps, and the camps were such a tremendous success. And I saw, Don and a great number of your church. They were there, the kids, and represented.
It was a huge success.
A huge success, and he baptized. I don't even know how many of them he baptized, but it was great. And I talked to him. I can't remember if it was Saturday. It might have been Saturday. I talked to Don, but things are going good, and
it's growing fast.
Building the new arenas basically up and done, and we're getting ready to put a cover over our arena. We're about halfway there, so that's another big step for us. When I say we're halfway there, I mean we have about half the money to do it, and so it won't be long till we'll have a covered arena, and that really helps in the wintertime when the weather's really nasty. And if you've got a cover over your arena, you can still get in there and do a lot of things. But it's exciting times for us.
It is. I mean, so many wonderful things going on. Again, you go to a lot of churches, or you'll look and you'll not see any youth outside. But they're sitting on the front benches.
Well, I'll tell you, and I just got through participating in this. Southern Cross at Arab had a revival last week, and I was over there a couple of nights for a couple of different reasons, but mainly because 2 of my some of my friends were there preaching, and so I went, and they were from off. They traveled a good ways to come, so I went over there, and then on Friday night. David Dorset got sick. He was supposed to preach. They called me at about 4 o'clock and said, "Man, our preacher's sick. Can you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll be there." So I went. It was
Life
great.
happens, right? Even in the Cowboy church.
And that's the thing. We have a pretty close network of pastors, and I tell people this all the time because it's true. There was a time when we let little barriers spring up between us. And over the last 7 or 8 years, I think we've saw those things go away. And one of the things that has helped is our fifth Sunday night services and some other things. But man, it was really good. But we were talking about young people, and I noticed this being over there 3 nights last week. If any person went to the altar, you know who the first ones was there with them? It's just like Lookout Mountain. The first ones to be there with them was the young people in the church. Man, that really is encouraging to anybody. If you'd have been there, I promised you it would have had an impact on. So when they come back from that camp and they're carrying with them a form of a revival, and they bring it back to Lookout Mountain or Southern Cross or Trading Post, man, that can continue on, and it should.
Well, it does with the kids. I mean, even from last year when they came back from camp, they were still talking about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of those. I know what a lot of people say. Well, teens go through a phase. Things only last a month or so. Not with these kids. Something happened. It was a huge impact on their lives, and they carried it on until the next one.
Yes. I get so tickled, and some of them, it just amazes me at what some of the young people come up with, and the things they bring back, the stories they tell, and my boys were there, my younger boys were there, and part of it, and so they're still talking about people they met. My oldest one is talking continuously to kids at Lookout Mountain. Well, I didn't even know it. That'd been going on ever since camp, and I didn't know who it was. But he made some friends. Well, that's a good thing. When our young people from each other's churches are talking to each other and encouraging each other, man, that is a good thing.
Kids need that connection.
Oh my goodness, we live in a day and time when it has never been more important for a kid to have good spiritual encouragement from their peers than it is today. I mean, it's never been more important, because I can tell you the world has got plenty out there that it wants to discourage them with or lead them down a road that'll end in despair and discouragement. So for us to have young people speaking life into each other, it is a good thing.
Well, I mean, we all need the encouragement.
Yes.
And especially kids. Can you imagine what they're going through now?
Oh,
we had it rough in the 60s and the 70s. My goodness, it's 10 times that now.
And I hear about it. My wife, of course, teaches at school, and the boys go to the same school, and it's a great school. It's Cornerstone Christian, and we love it. We love the people there. Just are exceptional. But there's a lot of people that we hear about and we get involved, and I've been involved with these circumstances that surround a kid. We have a new one that just came to a family in our church, and he'd been sleeping on people's couches for months.
That's so sad.
Because he really doesn't have a home, and he's just a teenage boy, and a family in our church got him. Got him. And
that's amazing. I am so glad of that, because we grew up in a troubled home as well. But I had outside influences I really looked up to, and that was a huge help.
Oh, yeah.
You never know who you're going to influence with a kid.
Oh, yeah. And there's nothing any better than trying to mentor, have a Timothy around, and I've always got some around me, and I've carried them to Texas with me. I've got one that's my youngest son who goes with me most places. He was fussing last night because they had to be at work out this morning. He had a really busy weekend, and he'd rather go and do the church stuff. So he didn't get to go with me last week. He didn't get to go with me to Florida. And boy, I'm catching it because he's kind of got behind and school's going to start. And I've still got a couple of trips to make, and it's kind of iffy if he'll get to go because of sports that he's involved in. So, but
it's wonderful to have that closeness.
Oh, it is. And not only, it's not just him, but it's other kids in our church and the people that we have that work with our kids are invaluable. There was they carried a group of our teens to up to the Ocoee River this weekend, and they had church service there yesterday, and then they went down the river. They went up there on Saturday, and they did rock climbing and some other things Saturday night, and yesterday they got to go down the river, and they came home late yesterday afternoon, and it was a good thing. They got to experience something, and we want to always, and we're especially thankful to the family. One of our families sponsored that trip for our young people, and I'm sure thankful for them. They've only been at our church about a year, and they have a son in that age group, and he went to camp, and but man, they're wonderful people, and they wanted to do that, and our youth leaders went, but we had 3 different sets of parents there with them. So it was a good thing, and there's opportunity. It's not always in the arena. That's kind of our first go-to place, but it's not always in the arena. There's still some things outside the arena that we do for fun and outreach, and everything we do, we share the gospel in. And it doesn't matter if I know that Saturday afternoon we had a large group of people from our church that were cooking and had the chuck wagon, for a back to school thing over in the little town of Woodville, which is where church is close to. So I talked to the guys yesterday. They started naming off all the people that was there, and they were worried about having enough help because some of the people that carried the young people also helped with the chuck. So they was kind of concerned about having enough. And yet there was a lot of people stepped up and came that wouldn't normally have been there. And they said, well, we had plenty of help. And I'm thankful that we have people that step up. And we see this kind of thing pretty routinely in the Cowboy church. And sometimes I'll get a little frustrated with the lack of involved. Some people just don't get as involved as we think they ought to. But I think every pastor goes through that. But it was a blessing. I know I talked to our chuck wagon team, and they said, well, we had a lot of help, and it was great. Several people showed up because they knew we were short-handed, and it ended up being really good.
Well, it always was. And by the way, Bobby Ledbetter's about to start his car business back up again.
I had that on my mind this morning.
Oh yeah, he's jumping at it, and he's going to dive right in like he always did. But I remember you guys helping support when he was feeding families.
Yes.
He and Matt Miles.
Yes.
With Cattle Stampede Steakhouse. And so I remember, is there going to be enough people to help, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
My best help was to get out of their way. So I would go. They had a system, didn't they?
Oh, it seemed like you would have thought they'd all work together doing this forever because the way it went off.
They'll just throw you in there and say, do this.
Yeah.
I remember telling Stephanie Chester, this is one time you can boss me around.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Miss Stephanie's good at bossing around. She needs to be.
But I'm going to tell you, she's got to be put up with Curtis.
Yeah. He's having his back surgery the end of next month, so we're praying that gives him a lot of relief, and he's been a real valuable asset in our church wagon coordinating for events and things.
So when we have the
the fall gathering at the trading post in October. I'm not quite sure what it all entails yet, but I think they're expecting about 15 chuck wagons to be there cooking that day. So that thing's going to be a pretty, and it may be a competition between chuck wagons for, and if you want to really get some good food, that's where you go. Go to where they're competing against each other.
That's why we had so many people at that ribbon cutting. It's nothing to do with me whatsoever. The owner of the station said, "How did you get that many people?" And I said, "It wasn't me. I just mentioned the chuck wagon."
Well, it's it's just one of our. The arena and the chuck wagons are our two greatest outreach tools because there's so many opportunities there, and they're fun events. They're fun to do.
And just looking at it, I mean, I just love stuff like that. You can tell by looking at my house, and I have like old horse bridles and stuff, just kind of hanging around for decor. But it's almost like an army force. They get right on it and make it happen.
Oh, and they start, like if we had an event that we're cooking for lunch. Or like when we cook, they either cooked all night or started in the wee hours of the morning cooking before daylight. When Curtis and them is on those trips to Mississippi or Kentucky, trying to help people in these disastrous times, they start cooking at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Spend the night there. Curtis knows I'm very serious about everything. I mean, I go overboard serious. So he sends me a message. This is when they went to Albertville at Shepherd's Cove Thrift Shop. Fed over 2,000 people that day. And so he sends a message, and it looks like he's being arrested. He wasn't. I started freaking out, and I said, "I'll go help. I'll get you out of jail," like that. And then they ha 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 ha. All it was, some cops were there to help them.
Yeah.
To help them. That's how important all this is.
Well, and we had to have help because the traffic was so backed up.
Oh my goodness! And that's a big parking lot, and it was still backed up.
Oh yeah.
But that was a whole lot of fun that day. We had a blast. Much of my friends came in. Ann Eubank came in from Birmingham. We just had a good time with her as well. And a lot of the officials who were running for office, it wasn't even in their region.
Right.
And they were helping.
Yeah. I'll never forget that. It was I was thinking, about the number of people we fed there in about a year and a half, and it was probably to the tune of more than 40,000 people.
I'm going to say.
Yeah.
It has to be.
So it was a good thing, and anytime you can join forces to do something, it's a good thing.
And it's community minded, and it's just an all around good thing. We're going to have to go into a commercial break. I decided to go to the bottom of the hour instead of 15 minutes. So anyway, y'all hang in there. We'll be right back. I promise.
You have been at this for 12 years. Why are you doing it? Because God's children are not for sale.
Rated PG-13.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success, and now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature-regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand-new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows Regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Okay, we're back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. That's in North Alabama. And then you can find us syndicated on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget to check out the podcast, netsnewsnetwork.net. We're going to have another one coming up just less than a month. So I'm really, really excited about that as well. Make sure you check out the the Cowboy Church, American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches. I've got the website down there. Don't look yet, but go ahead and get it. You need to listen to this guy. So go ahead and look up that information right there. And if you're interested in starting a church,
Yes,
what
reach
are
out.
some common myths? I know the first time when we started going to Cowboy Church, you know what Mother asked?
What?
If we rode horses inside the church.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, Mother, who told you we rode horses in the church?
Well, you know, I remember back years ago, and it's been a long time ago now, but people had the ideal that we had some kind of worship of cattle or...
no, that's what they do in India.
Yeah, that's Hindu, and that's what I would say, that's Hindus. You know, it's not us, you know. Cowboy Church is, and there's people that come to Cowboy Church that don't stay because once they realize, man, this is still church. And they wasn't looking for church, they was looking for a cool place to wear their hat or boots, and when they
those are usually the urban cowboys.
Yeah, some of those don't stay. They don't stay, but over a period of time, that revolving door kind of begins to slow down, and man, the church you attend, Lookout Mountain, has probably had the best go I've ever seen of a church being in a honeymoon stage of the church because your church just busted out the gate, and it is incredible to see what the Lord's done over there. It's been we're coming up on 2 years ago that church started, and there's a couple hundred people show up there every Sunday in the middle of nowhere.
It is. I mean, you have to pipe the sunshine in over there.
I'm telling you, it's something.
Internet too.
Yeah, and if you want to go hunting, you have to go toward town to go hunting from that place. But it's all
the
good.
barriers, all the reasons people say they don't go to church.
And that's the goal, is to remove the barriers, take away those things, and get rid of the offering plate. Some people don't have anything to put in it. Don't make them feel like less of a person because they can't put something in the. So we don't pass it around. We just don't pass the offering plate. You know, we and probably a lot of our people are one to the Lord sitting on the tailgate of a pickup truck versus on the fifth verse of Just As I Am. You know, we just do things a little differently. And
We don't use guns for a salute either.
no.
Somebody
But now I
said
won't
that.
say that there's not people in the church on Sunday that are not wearing guns.
I wear one. I pack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. And Phil and I have laughed about this. You would be a total imbecile to go into a church and try to start a church shooting.
At a cowboy church.
That would be so dumb.
Oh yeah.
All these guns, especially our church, 200 guns would be looking right at you.
Everybody's got one. You wouldn't get very far. The greatest, and I've said this, and
It's comforting.
to
I mean,
Mr.
to know that.
Parsons, I used to tell him my greatest fear would be that everybody in there would pull out a gun and shoot, and you'd be caught in the crossfire.
Uh-huh. Because a lot of churches, and your Baptist and your Methodist, everybody, a lot of them have security teams that the members don't even know about.
That's right, and we have that, and most of our churches do these days, because you gotta. It's sad that it's like that, but people that are messed up on drugs and things, they don't have any respect for
Well, they don't even know
God's
they're
house.
there. They don't know. I'm not saying that they shouldn't pay for what they do, but they don't even know.
It's the time we live in, and it's really hard because none of us ever saw this coming. If you'd have told me we'd be living in times like we're living in 30 years ago, I would have never believed it.
I couldn't believe it. Did you ever? It's a show it's on HGTV called Hometown. It's a young couple out of Mississippi, and so they don't have the show anymore. You can see some of the past shows because they want their family, and they said it was taking away from their kids and what have you. So, but they started a nonprofit organization, and what they're doing, they just want to get kids off the internet.
Yeah.
And people are giving a 2-year-old an iPad, and
I know.
most of those know how to use an iPad more than their parents do. And so their whole idea is to get back to simpler times.
Oh, and it was so much better.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much better. I was writing I write this thing on Mondays that it is set up to leave a memory for your family. And so I get an email every Monday asking me a question, and I respond to it. And it's caused me to think back. This morning it said, how did you learn to ride a bicycle? Well, most people would say, well, I learned from my parents. I didn't learn to ride a bicycle from my parents. Neither one of them ever had one. I mean, and I'm 73 years old, so I know. Neither one of them could tell me how to ride. They said you just got to do it and you figure it out, and they were encouraging.
Can't they get back up there and try it again?
Yeah, and here's the other thing, and it made me recall it. I was so thrilled to have it because we didn't get a lot of big stuff back then. And so when I got the bicycle, I remember how much fun it was to how faster I could get from my house down the road to my grandparents' house.
It was a freedom.
And it was on a dirt road. It was on a dirt road. I grew up on a dirt road. I was in my mid to late 20s when they paved that road. And people have no concept of being raised on a dirt road anymore. Very few do. But there's so much that has happened since then in those times.
It's supposed to be progress, but I feel like we're going backward instead of forward.
I think with our family and that common sense term that we use, we have lost a lot of and I'll give you a quick example of that. Was somebody was asking me about, and I still do really good at remembering names. Not maybe as good as I did a few years ago, but I can still remember pretty good names. And somebody was asking me about a phone number or something, and I told them, I said, well, I have to look it up. Because I can tell you back in the 90s, before we got cell phones, of course I had a job that caused me to have a number, quite a few phone numbers. And I know that back in the 90s, I had memorized 30-something phone numbers. And now I can't tell you 3 phone numbers.
Because we got it programmed in our
Yeah,
phones.
and it's made us use our brain in probably something that's been a negative in a lot of ways. And you know, when I grew up, and it was a major investment for my parents when they bought us a set of World Book
Oh
encyclopedias.
man, I could be hours just looking at that.
So, and they bought it for us so it would help with our education, help us in school when we're doing papers and things for school. They bought us an encyclopedia with a dictionary. And man, today you got all these search engines, and I use them. I mean, oftentimes I can remember a verse of scripture, but I can't remember where it was. And in seconds, I can literally have it up on my phone. So there's some good things to it, but at the same time, I think we have come so accustomed, we're so attached to the, and I was guilty of it a couple of weeks ago, and I may have said something about it. My phone just went blank, and I tried to reboot it 2 or 3 times. It wouldn't come back up, and I was in a frantic. And this was on Sunday, and I'm thinking, well, I can't wait till tomorrow. As soon as I can get to that service
I
provider.
panicked on there too.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
and so I had Jacob was with me, and I was going somewhere on that Monday, and I said, we're going there. That is where we're going. One of the places, I had 2 or 3 places to go, and since school's been out, he was able to go with me more. But he had my phone, and he said he was fooling with it, and all of a sudden it comes back up. I said, what did you do? He said, I just held it down and held it down and held it down. And
I know what he did. It's this button here, and then this one right here. You can hold it. I used to be in the cell phone business.
Yeah.
And it's called the hard reboot.
Yeah. Well, he got it back up, and I haven't had any trouble since then. But that for that period of time, I felt like, man, there's something wrong. Somebody's gonna need me, and they can't
that's
call
not
me.
always my first thought.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen, and they won't be able to get in contact with me.
And it does. I mean, that is people in the church. My first fear is my church family.
That's because you're a servant of the people,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah. So I won't say that it's all bad, but at the same time,
I even called on him about my dog.
Yeah.
You prayed for my dog. He's okay.
Yeah, well, good, because but medicines are good and things that we use. A lot of people, I get all those questions about horses. You'd think I was a veterinarian,
And
but,
chickens.
and chickens, and it's all good. I mean, sometimes I'll know. Most of the time, I'll know, especially if it's a horse or a chicken or a feathered creature or something. I might know the answer to it. But it's funny to me that as soon as I get to church sometime on Sunday, there'll be somebody that said, look, my horse did this and this and has this thing on it. Do you have any? Well, it could be this or this or this.
He's a veterinarian without the certificate, without the degree.
It's all good, but it tickles me, and they don't always work out, because sometimes I'm having issues with my own horses, and but that's another version. But I think that is one thing about Cowboy Church, is there's a closeness inside of Cowboy Church that we've lost in a lot of traditional churches.
Well, we've lost the closeness with humanity anyway.
Yes.
Yes. And I love the internet as much as anybody else does as well. But the only thing, sometimes I feel like it's too much information too fast, but you're not getting just one answer. You're getting also, because everybody's in it now, you're getting, let's just say, why is my chicken not laying enough eggs?
Yeah.
You're going to get everybody in the world's idea on the situation, and half of it's probably not correct.
Yeah. Which is
more than that.
Usually it's one or two things. It's either not enough light or something in the feed's not right. Maybe you don't have enough calcium in the feed.
Calcium's a big deal, right?
Yes, if it's a laying hen, they got to have calcium, and a lot of it. At least 3% of their diet ought to be calcium.
So I want to ask you something. Okay, so a lot of people, and yes, these are real books, and so I love to read, and I like to have I'm not so like against new things. I mean, I will read things on the internet as well, but I like a book that I can just pick up and turn the pages
Yes.
where it hasn't been changed. And here's my fear. Okay, so we do away with books. Okay, we don't have books anymore, and everybody's using it on their cell phone. How do I know some crazy person is not going to change the whole meaning of the Ten Commandments?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like thou shalt not kill. It's very simple. Thou shalt not kill. Okay, that's 4. Okay, what if somebody just starts chaos and says, and someone who has never read the Holy Bible before, okay, they're brand new, they're a brand new person, and what if somebody changes that to say, thou shalt not kill unless you don't agree with what they say?
Yeah.
Or just changes something about it.
Oh, yeah.
That could cause a lot of chaos.
It can, and I'm old school like that. I love books too, and I've got more than I ever had, and of course you do when you get this age, and
we're old now.
I know it, but you said the key word. You know, when you're talking about the Bible, and I see a lot of our guys that pull the Bible. And I used to have the app on my phone. I don't have it on my phone anymore because I really rather have something that I can hold in my hand. You know, in my Bibles, and I've got more than a couple. I managed to leave one in Florida couple of weeks ago when I left down there, but most of them have things underlined and marked, and so some of the most common questions that people have asked me, there's sticky notes all in the back to where the scripture is for all of those things. You can't really do that.
I can't get a highlighter and put it in.
You can't. I mean, I can't do it.
You can't turn down a page. I'm going to save this for reference.
Yes.
My books look terrible. You never want to buy one.
It's like my Bibles. They're full of sticky notes, and I don't always take them out when I finish a sermon. I used to do a lot more of it than I do now, but if I've just kind of now got the scripture, You
and I are sticky note people.
I am. And if you looked in my office supply cabinet, that's the number one thing that's
We've cornered the market on
yes.
sticky notes. I know I'd get you for Christmas. Sticky
that's
notes.
Great. Yes, that is right. That is right. But you know, I don't want us to ever lose fact of the value. And it's one of the most valuable books we have is the Bible, and we give away a lot of Bibles at the FFA convention, at the WRCA finals, in our churches, in our camps, and anything that we do, we give away a lot of Bibles. At the chuck wagon cooking that we did this past Saturday, our folks had Bibles to give out. They gave away a lot of things, and you'll never give anybody anything that's more valuable than a Bible. So it's something worth talking about and giving away.
Yeah, I think so too. I get concerned sometimes about technology just taking us away from reality, and I think we see a lot of that. School shootings. Did you ever hear a school shooting?
Oh no. I'm one of those guys that went coon hunting the night before I went to school the next day, and there would still be weapons in my vehicle, and nobody ever said a word.
I remember that. Young people, there was a day you would look, somebody would drive to school, and you would actually see guns on a gun rack in the back of somebody's pickup truck at school. Nobody thought a thing about it.
Never thought a thing. You'd get arrested for that today. You'd get expelled from school.
Oh, yeah.
Even if the gun wasn't loaded and you had it in your car at school, you'd be expelled. And it's sad that it's come to that, but I understand it. I mean, I understand why, because it's been portrayed that everybody that has a gun's a bad person, and I don't believe that at all.
I don't believe that either.
People with guns is what gained our freedom from Great Britain years ago. So that's how we got free of that. I think that's why that the Japanese, when they bombed Pearl Harbor, didn't invade our country, because everybody had their own weapon. And man, I still think, I believe in the Second Amendment. I strongly believe in it. You can't judge everybody by a few bad apples, and You know,
The bad apples are what people are putting in our public schools.
Oh, it is. It is.
You know, your kids go to a private school.
That's why they do too.
That's why I put. This is back in the 1990s. This is back before it's like it is now. And I think I shared this story with you once. So Brad was in, I think, the 9th grade or something like that. He comes in from school. It's in the 90s. And he said, Mom, got to have a calculator for school. Well, I won contests through math. That's always been my strong point. I represented the school here at Geraldine. I didn't want to. I was so shy. I was afraid I would melt. I even asked the teacher, I said, can you let somebody else let the second runner-up do it? I'm afraid I'll melt. But I've always been into math in your head. You know, do it in your head.
Yeah.
So Brad, I'm thinking he just wants a calculator. And I said, you know how he is. He's just a jokester. And
he
so
is.
I said, son,
Still.
I'm going to call you teacher. Well, I thought he's going to say, no, not really. I was just joking like that. Well, he just stood there and waited on me to call her. And I said, so really? She wants you to have a calculator. So I called this teacher. And I said, Brad tells me, to me that's cheating. We were told you would be expelled when we were in school if you had a calculator.
Yeah.
So I called her and she said, yeah, he has to have it. And I said, that's cheating.
Yeah.
You're not using your head. You're using a calculator instead of doing what you're supposed to do. So I pulled him out and put him in Trinity Christian Academy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought, no, we can't have that. I want him to count with his head.
Yeah, that's important. So important. You know, my dad didn't.
Yeah, go to a fast food restaurant and give them change.
I've done that, and I feel so sorry for them because they cannot make change, and
I think it's a huge disservice to kids.
Oh yeah, there's one of those little places in Scottsboro. It's one of my favorite places to go. Until they got a Whataburger, it was one of my favorite places. But I remember being in there the last time I went through there, and I haven't been back since. This girl, and I gave her whatever it was. It was less than $10, and I gave her a $10 bill and the amount of change to make it an even number. And it messed her up so bad. And she got snippy with me because I told her, I said, I could see her struggling. And I said, you owe me back $3 or $2. And boy, she said, well, I hadn't, it'll tell me in a minute. She was putting the number in the register and waiting for it to tell her. And I could think faster than that thing could.
With my slow mind.
Yes.
I could think faster. But it's a disservice to the kids.
Oh, it is.
Parents, we have to train the kids at home.
I think that was my dad only went to the 8th grade, but
probably the smartest person on earth.
He could do numbers in his head so fast. It always amazed me. I mean, we could be baling hay for somebody and pull out, and the guy would ask my dad how many bales of hay he had on the baler had a counter on it, and Daddy would tell him, well, it had 206, but I rebaled 3, so it has, you owe me for 203 bales, and that guy would be usually trying to figure something up. My dad would just say it because his mind just thought in
Mechanical
numbers.
mind.
Yeah, it just thought that way. My wife is a math teacher, and I have frustrated her a time or two because she'd be trying to count something up, and she'd either count it wrong, have the wrong number. And I don't need to be correcting her, but don't ever, if your wife's a math teacher and you give her the right, don't do that. That is never going to end good.
You slept in the doghouse.
It is never going to end good. It is never going to end good. But I've noticed that, you know, that's just something that people either kind of have or don't have, but we don't help it any. When we do have all these gadgets that make it so convenient to not use our mind, and that's what's happened. We've lost a lot of our common sense because we quit having to use our mind.
Didn't have to think.
Yes, that's right.
But I think it's done for a reason.
Oh,
I really think that's part
I
of
think there's an agenda behind it.
Absolutely. So it's up to us as parents to make this happen. The couple I was telling you about live in Mississippi. We're going to be going in just about a minute or so. In Mississippi, and I'll keep you guys informed as to what they're doing. I'm going to dig in there and see if I can help too, the
Good,
state of Alabama.
good.
So anyway, we'll see. Phillip, thank you so much for being on
Oh,
the
it's my
show.
pleasure. My pleasure.
It's always so much fun. I always look forward to you being here. And Phil is sitting in there just listening to every word we say. And he loves
Yeah.
it too. We learn a lot. Again, thank you so much for watching The Edge on IC Radio and Christ Radio, your source
Yes.
for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and syndicated on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And I did want to make a special notice to you. There's going to be a very special night at Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. So Mario said they're having their 6th year anniversary.
Yes, a great place.
Oh, it's a good place. And so they're going to have ground beef or chicken nachos for only $5, and it includes the drink. So you get your cola, your tea, or your water.
Hey, that's the one place that we went in after a ball game, and it was right about 9:05, and we walked in the door, and I said, "Do y'all close at 9?" They said, "Yes, but if you want to eat, come on." And they're awesome people.
Their whole staff is like
Yeah,
that.
good people,
Absolutely.
good people.
Thank you again, Phillip, for
Oh,
being on
my
the show.
pleasure.
And thank you for watching. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonesmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.